The crowd was roaring, the cameras flashing non-stop, and the award show lights burned brighter than ever. Diraba smiled gracefully, holding the golden trophy in her hands. She had just been named Best Actress of the Year. Her elegant red gown shimmered under the spotlight, and she looked every bit like the star she was. But as she turned to walk off the stage, something happened that no one expected. Yongyang suddenly stood up from the audience. "Wait," he called out. The entire hall froze. The microphone caught his voice perfectly, steady, deep, and emotional. Everyone gasped. The cameraman turned instantly toward him. The host's jaw dropped, and Diraba's steps halted midway. Yongyang was walking toward her. The man who had sat quietly through the entire ceremony, who hadn't even smiled once, was now climbing the steps to the stage. The security team hesitated, unsure if this was part of the show. It wasn't. Diraba's eyes widened. Her heart raced. She whispered into her mic, "Yongyang, what are you doing?" He didn't answer at first. He just stopped right in front of her, his expression unreadable. The audience began to murmur, phones raised to capture every second. Then he said softly, "You can't just walk away like that." The silence that followed was deafening. Diraba tried to stay composed, giving a polite smile for the cameras. "I think the show is over, Yongyang. Let's talk backstage." But he shook his head. "No. It's time everyone knew." A wave of confusion ran through the audience. The host, still frozen in place, didn't dare interrupt. The director backstage whispered frantically to the staff, "Keep the cameras rolling." Yongyang turned toward the audience and said, "I've stayed quiet for too long. You've all seen us in dramas together, you've all shipped us, laughed with us, but none of you know the truth. What we had wasn't just acting." Gasps filled the room. Some fans screamed. Diraba's eyes glistened, and she shook her head slightly, her voice trembling. "Yongyang, please, not here." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I thought I could let you go. But when you stood up there, I realized I couldn't pretend anymore." Her breath caught. She remembered everything, the long nights filming together, the quiet moments when they'd both laughed between takes, the promises they made when no one was watching. But they had ended things quietly, deciding that fame was safer than love. And now, he was breaking that silence. Yongyang took the microphone gently from the host's hand and looked out at the crowd. "Diraba taught me what love really means. But I let her walk away once. I won't do it again." The audience erupted, some cheering, others screaming in disbelief. Social media was already exploding with hashtags. The stage lights flickered as flashes filled the hall. Diraba bit her lip, tears threatening to fall. "You shouldn't say this here," she said softly. He smiled faintly. "Maybe not. But if I don't say it now, I'll lose my chance forever." The crowd grew louder. Every camera was locked on the two of them, standing inches apart, emotions raw and unfiltered. Then, just when everyone thought he would confess even more, Yongyang suddenly knelt down. The hall went silent again. Diraba gasped, stepping back. "Yongyang, what are you doing?" He looked up at her, holding a small velvet box in his hand. "I don't care about rumors, the headlines, or what anyone says. I just care about you." Diraba covered her mouth with her hand, her eyes wide with shock. "No, you can't." "I can," he said softly, his voice breaking. "Because I've loved you since the day I met you, and I'm done hiding it." The entire crowd stood up, some screaming, others crying. The host didn't even try to regain control, it was the most emotional moment the show had ever seen. Diraba stood frozen. Her heart was pounding so hard she could barely breathe. "Yongyang," she whispered, tears rolling down her cheeks. "You know what will happen if you do this." "I know," he replied. "But I'd rather face everything with you than keep pretending I don't care." The camera zoomed in on her trembling hands. The box was still open. The diamond sparkled under the bright lights. She looked at him for a long, painful moment, and then, she smiled. "I hate you for doing this in front of everyone," she whispered through tears. Yongyang gave a small, nervous laugh. "So, is that a yes?" She took a deep breath and nodded. "It's a yes." The crowd exploded in cheers. Confetti burst from above. The host ran back on stage, shouting over the noise, "Ladies and gentlemen, history has just been made." Yongyang stood up and pulled Diraba into a tight embrace. Cameras clicked non-stop, capturing the moment that would dominate headlines for months. But behind that embrace, Diraba whispered in his ear, "You really have no idea what you've just started." He smiled against her hair. "Then let's face it together." The lights dimmed. The music swelled. And the world, watching live, witnessed the most shocking, heartfelt confession ever seen on a stage. Because that night, Diraba wasn't just the best actress of the year. She became the woman Yongyang refused to let go of, no matter the cost. The lights dimmed. The music swelled. And the world, watching live, witnessed the most shocking, heartfelt confession ever seen on a stage. Because that night, Diraba wasn't just the best actress of the year. She became the woman Yongyang refused to let go of, no matter the cost. But what happened next, no one was ready for. As the cheers continued, the production team rushed behind the curtains, panicking. The show had completely gone off script. The host tried to keep smiling, but earpieces buzzed with the voices of anxious producers yelling, "Cut to commercial. Cut to commercial." But it was too late, the internet had already exploded. #Diraba and Yongyang was trending across every platform within seconds. Clips of the moment spread faster than wildfire. Millions of fans were screaming, crying, or in disbelief. Some called it the most romantic moment in CN history. Others said it had to be staged. Diraba and Yongyang stood at the center of it all, holding each other's hands as camera flashes surrounded them. For a second, the chaos felt far away. All she could feel was the warmth of his hand. When they finally stepped off stage, the world behind the curtain wasn't as kind. Managers, PR agents, and executives swarmed around them. "Yongyang, what were you thinking?" one of the producers snapped. "Do you realize what you've done?" He didn't even look at them. His eyes were fixed on Diraba. She was silent, her face pale, her makeup starting to smudge from the tears. She whispered softly, "You shouldn't have done that." "I know," he said quietly. "But I couldn't let you walk away again." Her eyes met his, and for a moment, all the noise around them faded. It was just the two of them, caught between love and the world watching them tear it apart.